Hello guys, welcome to a new video. So since you liked the video about Tomb Raider Legend and Tomb Raider Anniversary mistakes, I decided to do another one about the Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie. I also need to say, like always, that this video was just for fun and not to talk bad about the movies. I love both movies, so let's begin. During the fight with Simon the robot, there is a part where Lara does a trick with her pistols and puts them back in her holsters, but it seems like she missed one. When Lara tears some wires from Simon, she walks a bit to reach the artifact, which means that she walked away from the robot. But when Simon gets up again, he's right next to her. It doesn't make any sense. After the fight with Simon, we see Hilary going upstairs with Lara, but in the next scene or cut, he is again downstairs to turn down the music, which is weird. When Lara gets out of the shower, you can see a strap on her shoulder. This may be the thing that they used to hide the tattoo she had in her arm that has her husband's name, at least the husband from that time. When Lara visits her father's tombstone, you see first the month, then the day and the year. That is the American date format. Since they are British, the day comes first, so that tombstone has the wrong date. When Lara finds the secret room under the stairs, she knows exactly where the switch to the light is, which doesn't make any sense because she has never been there before. Lara's father says that the two halves of the triangle were hidden on opposite sides of the world.
The triangle into two pieces and hid them at opposite ends of the earth.
Well, he's really bad at geography, which is something weird for an archaeologist. They find the first piece of the triangle in Cambodia and the second one in Siberia. They are in the same continent, Asia, not very far from each other, as you can see. Before the bungee jump scene, we see that it's already dark, so it's night time. But during the bungee scene, we see in the top window a skylight that makes it not seem so late and dark. During the rope fight in her mansion, the last guy she defeats loses his goggles, but when he hits the floor, he has them again. After the delivery man enters the mansion, you see that the doors behind are closed. The reason for this may be the fact that when we see shots of the mansion from outside, it's a real mansion, but they didn't have permission to film inside, so that's why the doors are closed, because that was a studio and not the mansion. This scene with the parachute and the jeep also doesn't make much sense, that's too heavy to be carried like that. When the local workers are pushing the statues to open the temple, Alex joins them and starts to push to help them. But when they manage to take down the statues, he is not pushing anymore, but he is close to the statues, as you can see here. Another thing that doesn't make sense. Inside the temple, Lara sees this thing that is a clue for the puzzle, but in the next scenes, no matter the angle, they disappeared. Paul uses one of his men as a shield against the sword from the statue, but that should not work like that. He would be injured by the sword because it's too big. When Alex appears naked in front of the lady that cleans rooms, first she only has one towel in her hands, but when she throws them to Alex, she has more. When Paul and Pims are talking before Lara gives them the first piece of the triangle, you can see her walking next to the helicopter. But in the next cut, she's gone. Then we have a scene where she comes from the same spot. She was probably practicing and they got her on camera. When something enters the time storm, it gets broken in many parts. We see this happening with the clock and the dog that turned to muscle and then bones. But when Lara uses her hand to grab the final piece of the triangle, her hand doesn't change, but it should. When Alex West is stabbed and falls into the water, he gets jammed between the gears, causing the rotating arms of the big machine to stop. However, in the next shot, as Paul walks around the edge of the water, the arms are still moving. At the end of the movie, when Paul is lying on the floor, he changes positions. Sometimes his head is on the step, sometimes it's the back that is on the step. So those were all about Tomb Raider 1, and now I will start to talk about Tomb Raider 2, the Cradle of Life. In the beginning, when Lara approaches the boat, her knife changes between her left and right arm. When Lara appears in the white cat suit, she has a small lantern on her shoulder. When she goes underwater, it disappears, and when she gets out of the water again, reappears. Lara cuts her arm to attract the shark, but in the next scenes, the cut disappeared. During the target practice in a horse, Lara shoots the last target, but in the next scene the target is intact. During this scene, the guy stops and teleports himself to another angle with a box behind, so that Lara could use the sticks this way. In the lab, the enemies force Lara's head into a table full of broken glass, but when she gets up, her face has no scratches. During the scene where they use the wingsuits, you can see that their legs are not webbed, but later they are. When Lara and Terry are sliding down the rope, you can see two mistakes. The first one is Lara's hair, where it's sometimes all over the place, and other times it's like tied with elastics. The second one is that Terry sometimes is firing with his left hand and other times with his right hand, which I think is a bit hard to switch when you're doing that, but yeah. So those were all the things that I found about the two movies. I hope you enjoyed it. In case you didn't saw my previous video about Tomb Raider Legend and the anniversary mistakes, you can see it now. I will share it here in the video. If you know more mistakes, please share them in the comments. And don't forget to like the video to help the video reach more people, and subscribe for more Tomb Raider videos. Until next time, bye bye!